And we're back. Sorry I have taken so long to get back to this. What we're doing now is we need to glue the fretboard down to the neck. And what I'm doing here is I'm drilling a couple of pilot holes so that I can position the fretboard on the neck blank and it won't slip or slide when I go to glue it down. So I'm just drilling a couple of small holes, one in each fret, one in one fret toward the top of the guitar, toward the nut, and another down toward the body. And I'm taking a very small nail and I cut it in half because I really don't need a big long one, and it will fit in those drill holes because I drilled through that fret slot and into the neck. And so now those nails will act as guide pins and it will lock the fretboard in place so that it won't slide side to side or slide on one end or the other. And I can position it in the perfect place for gluing it down. It looks like here I didn't quite get it deep enough into the neck. You have to be really careful not to drill through the neck. And so now that I have it the way I want it, I'm going to take some masking tape and cover up the truss rod, which is in the neck at this point. It's in the slot. And the tape's being fiddly, of course. And now I covered that truss rod slot because I don't want glue in it. What I'll do is I'll spread glue on the neck and get it covering the surface the way I want it to. And then I'll peel that tape away, and that way, you know, I don't run the risk of having big gobs of glue slide down into the truss rod slot where it could freeze the truss rod up or whatnot. Now I need a little extra glue, so I'll add a little bit, and I want to get it up close to that truss rod slot, but I don't want it to go so close that when I put the fretboard down and begin to clamp it, it'll squeeze big gobs of glue into that truss rod slot. With this one, it might not matter. This is a single action truss rod, but it's one with the it's like a two-piece rod. It's more important, I think, for the single rods or something like a two-way truss rod, but better safe than sorry. So So now I'm going to position the fretboard on top of the neck using those pieces of small nail and the holes that I drilled to basically lock the fretboard in place. And then it's just a matter of clamping it down thoroughly. See, now that fretboard would have slid all over the place when it fell like that, if not for those little nails or pins. And I'm going to use as many clamps as I can get on this neck. I want to get as much contact with the bottom of this fretboard and the top of that neck as I can possibly get. And you see I'm putting some clamps close to one edge and some clamps close to the other. You don't need it as much in the middle because there's no glue in the middle. There's a truss rod that runs down through the middle. But you want the sides to glue down really well to each other so you don't have any gaps. And you want this fretboard on this neck as solidly as you can possibly get it, because it will be under stress when you crank that truss rod. That's what will get stressed, is the back of the neck and the back of that, the bottom part of that fretboard. And you just turn it around and move it around wherever you need it. And now I'm checking gaps and reaching for another clamp, of course. It can get ungainly and unruly to handle because you have all of these clamps. They're all different lengths and sizes, and they all weigh differently. And you know, if you've got one that's got a really long reach, then you've got that rod hanging way up in the air, and it's unbalanced and all kind of things. But that is the price you pay for building an instrument. You need all kinds of clamps. There's never a time when a luthier should pass by a clamp and go, well, I really don't need that. You need clamps, more clamps than you could possibly imagine. I'd like those little red Bessie clamps that I'm using. I'd like to have about 10 or 15 more of those. They're just little 6-inch opening clamps. I do believe it's a 6-inch clamp. Anyway, yeah, you need the clamps. So it looks like I pretty much don't have any more clamps. So now, well, there's one more. See, they just sneak their way in there. And if you can squeeze it in there, put it in there. That's it.